And people say we monkey around.
Gotcha! You're mine!
If you've been watching my channel for a while, firstly,
My god, are you mad?
What?
and secondly, you'll probably know that some time ago, it's been almost 2 years. What the fuck? I took a look at a fun little game on PS1 called Ape Escape. And yeah, I liked it. A lot. Gave it an A on my tier list and everything. And it seems the good folks over at Sony liked it as well. Or at least the money it made. Since we got a sequel a couple of years later on PS2, how does it measure against its predecessor? Is it just as innovative as the first installment in the Missing Monkey saga? Well, let's grab our stun clubs and nets and find out. But before we do that, real quick, we're still trying to reach 1,000 subscribers and we're getting pretty close. So if you enjoy my content and have yet to subscribe, I would very much appreciate it if you would do so. And as always, thank you so much to everyone who already has. And with that out the way, let's go and spank some monkeys.
Monkey!
So Ape Escape 2 was developed by Sony Computer Entertainment Japan and published by Ubisoft? What? How? Oh, why, Sony? Why? You made a deal with the devil, man. Why would you do that? I mean, have you seen how they treat their own franchises? Shit, they'd probably be trying to flog NFTs of Spike and Jake if they published it today. Although, to be honest, I wouldn't put that past Sony at this point either. But yeah, Ape Escape 2 was published in North America by Ubisoft, just for some reason. Because, I don't know, I guess they had a strong presence there or whatever. Because it's not like some little rinky-dink indie outfit like Sony wouldn't have the power and capital to break into that market, even though they did in the rest of the world. And yeah, I know there's actually legitimate business reasons to make such a deal. I just thought it was funny. I mean, come on. Ubisoft? Ugh. But anyway, as you'd probably expect, we pick up some time after the end of the first game with the sweet docile monkeys receiving an emergency airdrop of new pants. I mean, this is an E-rated game after all. We don't want the little kiddies looking at monkey pee-pee, now do we? But turns out some Wazak also mixed in some of the monkey helmets, what makes them all smart and shit, pretty much leading to the first game all over again. And who's responsible for this disaster? Why, that would be this little plonker called Jimmy. And who is Jimmy? Well, according to the Ape Escape wiki, because of course there's an Ape Escape wiki, apparently he's the younger cousin of Spike from the first game, who's just not around for reasons that are never explained. I don't know, maybe he's been a diva on set so they had to replace him.
What the fuck are you doing? Are you professional or not? Do I want no? No! Don't shut me up! What the fuck is it with you?
So yeah, this time we're playing as little Jimmy O'Toole over here.
See? Everything arrived safe and sound.
Wait a minute. I know that voice.
Yeah, I think anyone who grew up in the late 90s or early 2000s would know that voice. Yep, it's Ash from Pokemon, at least the first few seasons, which were just the GOAT in my opinion. Not like any of this new shit, but never mind that. So yeah, that's cool, although it is a little distracting, because it's not like it's the same actress doing a different voice, which, yeah, it was a woman doing that voice, believe it or not. But no, it's literally just the exact same voice. So whenever the kid opens his mouth, all I hear is just Ash. It's just weird is all. Like, what game am I playing? But that's not all, because we've also got Natalie, the professor's granddaughter from the first game. Kinda looks a bit like Misty, don't you think? Well, she doesn't just look like her, because turns out she's also got the voice to match. That's right, it's the same actress doing the exact same voice. Like what, did they just hire half the cast of Pokemon for the English dub or something? So we've got Ash, Misty, but what about Brock? What happened to Brock? What, you didn't want him? What have you got against Brock, huh? It wouldn't have something to do with his skin colour now, would it? Okay, obviously I'm kidding there. I hope. And you know, maybe I could just chalk the rest up to coincidence. But then you've also got this little monkey companion thing who follows you around for the majority of the game, whose name is, no word of a lie, Pikachu. Are you kidding me? Pikachu? That's just like a couple letters away from Pikachu. I mean, come on, that can't be a coincidence. I mean, just look at all this. You've got a game where you play as a young boy who has to go around catching creatures while also having one of said creatures as his best friend and companion. It even talks like Pikachu. It can only say its own name and keeps going Pippa Pippa or whatever. And just listen to the kid say its name.
Pikachu! Pikachu!
The similarities are uncanny, wouldn't you say? Hell, at this point, I was half expecting them to do a pal world and instead of a net, just have you use a glorified Pokeball to catch the monkeys. Oh, and just as an aside, what the hell were they thinking with that shit? You do know who owns Pokemon, right? Partially, at least. What did you think was going to happen? Don't you know who you're dealing with? They'd sue a poor orphan boy with leukemia for being called Mario if they thought they could get away with it. Couldn't you come up with a different way to catch the Pokemon? Because let's face it, that's what they are. Like, why not just use a net or something? Like here. I don't know, just seems like a pretty daft thing to do. Like you're just asking for trouble. But anyway, that's the story. The professor's buggered off on his halls or whatever, leaving Natalie and Jake in charge of the lab. Yeah, we've seen how well that went, haven't we? The monkeys have escaped again, Spectres at large once more, and we've got to get them back. And with that out the way, yeah, we've just got to go out and catch monkeys, same as before. The gameplay is pretty much identical to the previous game. You just go through a bunch of levels, track down the monkeys, and use the net to catch them, same as ever. Although, with this kid's voice, all I can think of is Ash going around whacking poor little creatures on the head with a stick, like a seal hunter with his club, and then catching them in a net, which I must say probably would make the whole process a lot easier. You've got pretty much all the same abilities. You can run and jump and go prone so you can sneak up on those cheeky monkeys and catch them unawares.
Gotcha, bitch!
Then you can swim with the water net, climb poles and shimmy along beams. So yeah, not a huge range of abilities, and it is kinda disappointing that they don't really give us anything new. But like with the first game, the gadgets do make up for the limited number of things you can do by yourself. We've got all the same gadgets as before. You've got your stun club for braining bad guys and monkeys on the head before you catch their sorry asses. You've got the monkey radar, the hula hoop, the slingshot, the sky flyer thing, the RC car, the magic punch, all of which work the same as in the previous game. Namely, they take advantage of that newfangled super advanced dual shock technology. Again, you control them all with the right stick. You move it in one direction, that's where you swing the club or the net. You pull back and let go to use the slingshot, and you rotate it to use the hula hoop and sky flyer and whatnot. Which, like I said in my review of the first game, is a cool and innovative way to do it and helps make the gameplay more immersive. And best of all, the controllers what came with the PS2 were DualShock by default. So unlike before, you didn't have to go out and buy a whole new controller just to play the fucking thing. Yeah, it was all part of Sony's continuing obsession with innovating on gameplay through their controllers. You had this stuff on PS1 and 2, the daft motion control shit on PS3, the silly touchpad on PS4, and now you've got all the haptic feedback shit on PS5 with the DualSense. Which in my review of the first game, I believe I said was probably just another dumb gimmick that didn't really make much difference to the gaming experience. Well, after experiencing it for myself, I'm pleased to say that I was wrong. It's been known to happen. Yeah, whereas the motion control and touchpad and built-in speaker to me always felt like silly gimmicks, this actually did enhance the gaming experience and I think could actually be a real game changer if more games would just take advantage of it to its fullest potential. GTA 6, baby! Yeah, I know GTA 5 Enhanced Edition had it as well, but I think they can take it even further. Man, I can't wait to drive down that beach in a blister compact, feeling the impact through my hands for every poor fucker I bounce off the hood. Yeah! Hell, maybe they could also incorporate the jiggle physics somehow. Haptic feedback in the strip club, anyone? Oh, yes please. So yeah, like I say, you use the right stick to control the gadgets, which is more than can be said for the Ape Escape themed level in Astro Bot. I was so excited when I came to that bit, going around bashing in little robo monkey brains with the right stick with all the haptic shit, you know, bring all the innovations full circle. But no, instead they have you use just the same old boring square button to use the stun club and net and what have you. I can't tell you how disappointed I was in that moment. I mean, come on. Yeah, I know you use the right stick to control the camera, as is tradition, but what, you couldn't have changed the controls around for this one bit, just to make the experience just that little more authentic? You couldn't even give us that?
Bullshit!
But anyway, as with last time, you unlock new gadgets as you progress through the game, with some monkeys in earlier levels requiring gadgets you don't get until later to get to. So again, to catch all the sneaky bastards and unlock the full ending, you will have to come back to levels you've already been through to fully clear them. You unlock a few new gadgets also, like the banana rang, what you can use to lure monkeys out of their little hidey holes, the water cannon for putting out fires, and the magnet for holding onto and moving metal objects, and you use them in the same way as all the others. So that's basically all there is to it. You go through the level, catch the required number of monkeys, and that's the level done. Oh, and it does the same annoying thing as in the first game, where once you've caught enough monkeys, the level just ends, and if you want to catch more, then you've got to go back in and start from the beginning. And yeah, like I said, there's often monkeys what you can't get to without gadgets you don't get until later in the game, but there's still plenty that you don't need any special shit to catch. Hell, sometimes the level will end even though there's another monkey literally right in front of you. Like what, is Jimmy, like his cousin before him, just the laziest worker in the whole world or something? He catches the required number and then he's just like, right, that's my quota, I ain't catching a single more, even if they're right there in front of me. Which I can certainly respect, but it's just irritating when the level arbitrarily ends even though I actually want to keep going, and I just want to tell the game,
we're done when I say we're done.
But yeah, that's the basic gameplay, so we might as well take a look at things in a bit more depth, starting with the controls, which again can take a little while getting used to, since the control scheme's different to just about any other game of this type, at least any that I've seen. You move with the left stick or D-pad, but the face buttons are used for selecting your gadgets, while you use L1 and 2 to control the camera and R1 and 2 to jump. So yeah, not the most conventional control scheme, and like I say, it can take a little while to get used to. If I had a penny for every time I try to jump only to end up selecting one of my gadgets, I'd be at least a couple quid richer. The movement is better than it was in the first game, which wasn't bad, but it was a bit clunky, which as we all know is just par for the course for PS1. It feels similar here, it's got a good amount of weight, but it's lighter and more fluid and responsive, so it just feels better and is easier to control. Once again, you've got the obligatory coins or whatever scattered throughout each level for you to collect, but there's a bit more to them this time. See, while in the first game they just function like they do in most games. You know, you collect 100, you get an extra life. But instead here, when you return to the laboratory or whatever after each level, you'll find this big ass gachapon machine or whatever the hell they call them, which you can use to spend the coins you collect to win various items. Cause yeah, gambling! A fun activity for all ages. Get 'em started young, right? I mean, just imagine if this came out today. Yeah, it wouldn't just be in-game coins you could put in that machine, I'll tell you that. Especially with Ubisoft involved. So yeah, you can spend coins to get various assorted shite out of the machine. Mostly just extra stuff like concept art, enemy photos, monkey fables, etc. Most of which is just useless shit. Although you sometimes also get health and extra lives, and it's also how you unlock the extra mini-games and shit. So yeah, I appreciate them giving you a bit more to do with your hard-earned coins, but to be honest, I would have preferred if they just kept it the way it was in the first game, since like I say, most of the things you get out the machine are completely useless. So really, it perfectly simulates the whole gachapon experience pretty much, based on my quick Wikipedia search. Hey, at least I didn't use fucking ChatGPT or what's the other one called? Croc or whatever, like all the other androids. But once again, it's not just the gadgets that rely on the super cool state-of-the-art DualShock technology. Since as you progress, you come across familiar set pieces like the rowboat and the tank, as well as a couple new things like the snowmobile and this giant Pipichi mech thing. And again, you control them all with the right stick. And yeah, they're about as annoying as in the first game. Like once again, with the rowboat, you've got to rotate the left and right stick in opposite directions in tandem to move the oars properly, otherwise you just go round and round in circles. Though thankfully, if you're like me and have the fine motor skills of an otter in the middle of a complex seizure, have no fear, since this time the game does take pity on you and lets you just push the sticks forward and you'll go the way you want to. You'll just go slower cause, I don't know, I guess the game can't be too nice or whatever. The snowmobile's pretty annoying as well, since even though the on-foot movement has a good amount of weight to it, this thing just goes flying around at the speed of light pretty much, so it's hard to make precise turns and hit the thing you're trying to. And the mech's the total opposite, just really slow and clunky, which admittedly is mostly by design, but it doesn't feel very good to control and ultimately is just nowhere near as fun as it should have been. But yeah, even though these things could be a bit annoying, like the gadgets, they help make the gameplay more varied and immersive. Just would have been nice if they made things like the snowmobile a little easier to control. But it's not just the evil mastermind Spectre we've got to worry about, since this time he's got some heavy muscle backing him up, in the form of the Freaky Monkey 5. Yeah, the Sinister Six of the Ape Escape universe, I suppose, who've been given some super special bananas what make them smarter and stronger and whatnot. Yeah, these are the Alpha Monkeys. I guess like the Alpha Infected from 28 years later. Yeah, as long as we don't see any giant monkey dick, I think we'll be okay. So yeah, every few levels you'll be confronted by a member of the Freaky Deaky 5, and then you get a boss fight. And Freaky Deaky's right. Like, what the fuck is this thing? Mr. Blobby's sex offender cousin or something? Oh god, don't do that again. But yeah, these are simple enough. It's just a matter of avoiding their attacks and then beating the shit out of them when you get an opening. It can just be annoying since some of their attacks can be hard to avoid. In fact, throughout most of the game I found it harder to avoid enemy attacks. On the whole, I just found the enemies to be a lot more tenacious this time around, particularly the monkeys themselves. Yeah, they're fighting a lot harder not to go back in the cage this time. But it's not the end of the world if you do lose all your health, because if you do, then Pikachu will feed you a tasty little pick-me-up to give you a bit of health back. But if you lose all your health again in the same level, then sorry bucko, that's your lot. Should have been more careful. But that's not the only thing the shameless little ripoff can do. He'll, I'm assuming it's a male, I don't know, point out nearby monkeys and places where you can use your gadgets, and if you miss a jump by a small margin, he'll save you and fly your ass over to the edge so you can grab on and survive. So yeah, it's cool that he actually has a use and helps you out, including at points where under normal circumstances the controller probably would have gone out the window. But as you'll probably expect, you can't rely on him all the time since you do get separated at a couple points. Like you run into the Professor just living it up in the game's version of Vegas. Yeah, glad to see you're having a good time, you old fuck. And he then takes Pikachu off you to keep him safe back at the lab. Yeah, great, thanks. Fat lot of good that does me. And apparently the little bastard agrees since he then fucks off looking for you and you've got to find him again. Then later on he gets captured by the Freaky Deaky 5. Oh god, that doesn't sound good, does it? Because apparently Spectre needs him for this lethargy laser thing he's building, what'll make all of humanity lazy and indolent so they don't have the will to resist their new monkey overlords. Are you sure we haven't been hit by something like that already? I don't know, it just kind of feels that way when I think about it. Not really sure why. Yeah, of course there's a monkey called Spank. And I know I made the joke at the start, but that's me. This is a game for kids. And yeah, I know most kids probably wouldn't get the joke, but still. I mean, I played this game as a kid, and I can totally see myself sitting there on the couch, controller in hand, my dear old dad sitting close by, reading the paper or whatever the fuck he used to do. I catch this filthy little bastard, see the name, and then I'm like, that's a funny name for a monkey. Why would he be called that? And then my dad would be like, oh, I don't know, because he's been a very naughty monkey and he needs a good spanking. Oh, god damn it, that sounds just as bad. Just shut the fuck up, you little piece of shit. Seeing as we're jumping from PS1 to PS2, obviously the graphics are a big improvement over the first game, but the art style still retains that classic anime look, while lacking the trademark jaggedness of the original. It's still bright and colourful, and the environments are a lot more detailed. Now if you remember my review of the first game, if you even watched it, you'll remember that in regard to the voice acting, I had some rather, choice words. The voice acting is, for lack of a better phrase, absolute fucking shite. And what inspired me to say those immortal words? Well, let's hear a few examples, shall we?
Jake, we don't have to do this. Just come back to the lab.
We will meet again. You just wait. You won't even know what hit you.
What? Apologize? That's ridiculous. Why should I apologize? After the way they treated me? I told you I'm never going back.
Yeah, not great, is it? But what about now? Well, we've already seen that we've got a couple talented voice actors with Ash and Misty, but they're not the only ones. We've also got the Professor, who sadly no is not voiced by the guy who played Professor Oak. I know it's a shame, but he is voiced by the Pharaoh himself, Dan Green of Yu-Gi-Oh fame, as well as many other titles, so that's something at least. But yeah, the voice acting is a lot better this time around, which once again you'd hope, considering the caliber of talent involved. It actually sounds like a performance, and not just a couple guys reading lines off a sheet. So yeah, that's nice. One of my favourite things about the first game was the soundtrack. In fact, I'd say it's one of my favourites of all time. I just like the fact that it didn't really feel like a video game soundtrack, if that makes sense. Like it just seemed more like music that you can put on just to listen to, which also just happens to go well with the world and gameplay. Not surprising considering it was done by an actual electronic music producer, Soichi Terada, and I'm already big into my electronic and techno as it is. That's just my jam. But here, it's good, it's decent enough, but it sounds a lot more like a video game soundtrack than just music that can stand by itself without being part of a whole other thing. Again, if that makes a lick of sense. But like I say, it's fine enough. I just don't think it has quite as much character as the first game. But anyway, you just go through more levels, recapturing more little simian shitheads, you defeat the Freaky Deaky 5, get Pikachu back, but then Pudsey the Sex Pest turns back up, who for some reason now looks like he's been put through Rick Moranis' machine in Honey I Blew Up the Kid, and now we've got to fight the giant fuck. And this was annoying as all hell, mostly just cause it goes on for ages. As usual, all you've got to do is avoid his attacks and then knock his teeth out when you get a chance. But it just takes so long to get to that point cause his attacks go on for ages. Whether he's trying to suck you into his big mouth, oh god. Don't mention the word suck in relation to this guy, or dropping smaller enemies for you to take out. And then you've got to knock out each of his nasty shit covered teeth with the slingshot, and it just goes on forever, and doesn't take long to get boring as fuck. But despite that annoying shit, it is a decent game overall, although I do have one complaint, and this probably could be considered a little pedantic and unreasonable, but I just didn't feel like it innovated much on what the first game did. Like all the gadgets work exactly the same, even the new ones we get. Same with the set pieces like the rowboat and the snowmobile, and it doesn't feel like they were trying to do anything really new, but instead we're just like, oh well, we've got to add something so people don't say it's just the first game again. It just doesn't feel like they build upon what they did with the first game in a meaningful way, despite it being a whole new console and controller. Which to be fair, it's not like they had a whole lot to work with, since there wasn't that much change in terms of the controller, but I just wish they could have come up with some more unique set pieces to better set the gameplay apart from that of the first game, but like I say, that might be asking a bit too much. Anyway, we finally make it to Spectre's super secret moon base, and you just make your way through, catching more monkeys and doing more platforming and shit, which overall didn't seem as intricate or complicated as what we had in the first game. Yeah, I remember there being a few parts that pushed me to the edge of my lingering sanity, but I never really found anything like that here. Not that I'm complaining, although it did get a bit boring when you're just having to use the magnet to slowly make it across all this shit. And it can also be pretty annoying using the magnet, cause you've got to make sure to use it at the right time. Like you've got these moving metal things what you've got to grab onto to make it across the chasms, but if you try to grab on at the wrong time, when the thing's already moving, then you can end up pulling yourself over the edge and falling to your death. Then after that, it's finally time to confront Spectre, but first we've got to defeat his giant cymbal smashing monkey toy thing.
Get rid of that monkey.
And this is simple enough. Again, you've just got to avoid his attacks and smack him when you get an opening. And once you've done that, it's onto the man, or the monkey himself, which is pretty much the same. Yeah, even though there's more boss fights this time, they all play out pretty much the same way. You just run around, avoid their attacks, and then hit them when they're kind enough to give you an opening. Yeah, they might change up their attacks a bit, destroy the floor and shit, but it's all the same pretty much. Hell, this fight's pretty similar to the same one they had in the first game. So yeah, while the boss fights are fine enough, again, I wish they could have found some ways to make them a bit more varied this time around. Maybe incorporate your gadgets a bit more or something. Anyway, you beat Spectre, destroy the moon base, and there you go, you've saved the day gear. But wait a motherfucking minute, I hear you say, we haven't caught all the monkeys yet, so that can't be the true ending, right? Well, you'd be correct, cause oh no, somehow Spectre managed to escape. Yeah, just somehow. Even though the professor was meant to be keeping an eye on him. Like what, he just walk out the front door while you were taking a shit or something, you stupid old fuck? So yeah, Spectre's at large once again, and in order to get the true ending, you've got to go back through every level and catch all the monkeys that you missed, all of which you can now reach since you've got all the gadgets. And it's easy enough, you just use the monkey radar to figure out where they are and track them down, although each level also has a hidden monkey that doesn't show up on the radar, and instead you've got to track them using the first person camera, which can now pick them up. And once you've got all the monkeys, it's time to take on Spectre one final time. Well, at least until the next game.
I'm gonna spank you, monkey!
Oh, come on! This is getting ridiculous! Like, at least you were being kinda subtle before, but now you've got Ash Ketchum running around shouting about spanking monkeys. I mean, how shameless can you be? But anyway, it's time to put this spooky little bastard back in his cage where he belongs. And like the previous fight, it's pretty similar to its counterpart from the first game. He starts off flying around in his chair so you can't hit him, and instead you've got to wait for him to move his dumbass in the way of this rocket thing and then hit the button to make it crash into him and knock him out of it. And this was where shit got really annoying, cause turns out the little prick's even more slippery than the floor at Diddy's place after one of his famous parties. Probably smells just as bad too. He's running around all over the place quicker than the Flash. Most of his attacks are hard to avoid, like this shit. Now that's some real Elden Ring bullshit right there. And if you don't hit him when you've got the chance, then he just jumps back in his chair and you've got to fuck around knocking him out of it again. But once you manage to hit him enough times, you can finally capture him and there you go. The world is safe once more. Just as long as this senile old duffer ain't in charge of keeping an eye on him. But the game's got one last surprise up its sleeve, cause oh, look who's just decided to turn up, right at the end, when the crisis is already over. Where were you when we needed you, huh? What, were you too busy spanking some monkeys of your own or something, you lazy fucker? So yeah, once you beat Spectre for good, you can start New Game Plus, where you can go back through, but as Spike instead. Yeah, that was a real surprise. I always thought New Game Plus was a more recent feature. I had no idea it's been around since at least 2002. But anyway, it's pretty much just the same, just the monkeys are a little harder to catch. And I've had enough monkey spanking for one day. Wow, there's a sentence I never thought I'd say. In this context at least. And yeah, that's that. So that was Ape Escape 2 on PS2. And in conclusion, yeah, it's good. Just as good as the first game. Mostly cause it is just the first game, just with better graphics, controls and voice acting. Which I'm not saying's a bad thing, but it did feel pretty samey, since they don't really do anything new or build much upon what they did in the first one, which was a little disappointing. Although it's not a huge deal, since like I say, it's still a good game in its own right. The gameplay's still fun and engaging as ever, once again cause of all the DualShock stuff. The levels are interesting and varied, the graphics are bright and colourful, and the voice acting's about 1,000,000 times better, even if it tricks you into thinking you're watching Pokemon half the time. So yeah, it's still a worthy successor to the first game, which if you enjoyed, then you should definitely give this one a go as well. Just don't expect anything hugely different or innovative. And there you go. So that was my review of Ape Escape 2. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, then leave a like. If you didn't, then tell me to go fuck myself. We're still trying to reach 1,000 subscribers, and we're close. We're so close, I can taste it. So if you enjoy my content and have yet to subscribe, then I would greatly appreciate it if you would do so. And as always, thank you so much to everyone who already has. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.